and welcome everyone to our Medicine Buddha practice, and welcome to those of you who are new as well. And you can, if you are new, please introduce yourself in the chat if you would like to. But that's not a requirement, so there we go. So tonight, I most of you probably don't know this because I just say a bunch of shit and then don't follow through on half of it. But because I usually forget, I get wrapped up in the moment and I get so inspired, and then I turn the computer off and go watch Golden Girls, and then I forget about everything. And then that's why we need Eric here to remind me. But as I promised, once a month I want to do a guided practice to help people transition back into the bardo, the spirit world. And as I was saying when I first announced this, that you know our lands, particularly if we live on colonized lands, um, so much of the rituals, practices, and so forth around tending to the dead have been so disrupted, and so that means there's a lot of spirits around who need support. They're they're inhabiting our homes, the lands that we're living on, and so returning back to very simple rituals that guide beings, that help them to continue on their journey, is so important. So we're going to do this offering tonight, and we're going to do it after the offering of prayers. So in the prayer requests, um, feel free to just, excuse me, offer names of people who have recently transitioned, and our communities of people and so forth, right? And so we can lift their names up, and in lifting and saying their names, we call their attention, and then that creates kind of an energetic tethering that we can use the ritual to use that tethering to kind of support them in their transitioning on. Okay, so we're going to be doing that. So go ahead and get the repair requests on the dock as well, and yeah, just further check-ins. Um, how are you doing? What's going on? How's your heart? Um, how are you managing things in the heart of this apocalypse, the season of apocalypse, which is um, a multi-year experience? But I just want to see how people are doing, how everyone's doing. And just to also say, too, if you are planning to join us for our in-person retreat on the 30th, and, we're planning a really special event. I'm going to be collaborating with a friend of mine who's a professional um, cellist, storyteller, and we're going to do Akari, who the space that we host in, we have it in the day, then he's having an event in the evening, and so we're gonna do like an hour of like this kind of meditation, music collaboration. So, which will be really fun. I really love working with musicians. So more information will come out as we start promoting that as well. So it's going to be really great. Um, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and when we come into the practice, right, as we come into tonight's practice or whatever the time is, wherever you are in the world, um, as always, we kind of enter into this practice with just a lot of openness, with just this deep aspiration to kind of surrender, to relax. And this is what really activates tantric practice is the surrendering, right? It's letting go and letting ourselves be held by space, be held by emptiness. Emptiness, of course, being the birthplace of all phenomena, including beings, right? So when we relax, we're allowing ourselves to, and particularly our awareness, to start mingling, opening, flowing into um, this state, this experience rather, of emptiness. And I won't say much more about emptiness, you know, but we do talk a lot about emptiness, absolutely. But emptiness is something that we can easily bypass by talking too much about it, right? Emptiness becomes this, and that, right? And then we get distracted from the actual experience of emptiness. Emptiness is something that can't be labeled, right? Like it's not something that can be identified and touched. It's something that you gradually begin to experience, right? And it's like the experience itself isn't like something that's like a drastic pointing out. It's more like something that's slowly coming to the surface, something that's slowly dawning, like a pot of water slowly coming to the boil. That's how we begin to experience emptiness over a period of practice, right? It should be so. The emergence of emptiness should be so gradual that we shouldn't be able to identify where it began. Like you should just over time you realize, oh, there's a softness here, there's a tenderness here. Like things aren't so edgy like they used to be, right? I feel much more relaxed. Even in experiences of chaos and disruption, there's a sense of resting, relaxing, opening, trusting as well. That's the experience of emptiness, right? It's not this kind of nihilistic experience where nothing matters anymore. Again, it's more like a softening, right? And then in that softening, it is like a belief, right? More than a faith, but a belief, a knowing actually, just a profound knowing that there is more happening than your sense faculties are registering. Right? There's so much more happening, right? Um, that also that whoever or whatever you think you are, that there is there's much more to that, you know, that whatever I think I am, I'm much more than that, right? So these are some of the things, right, that we're trying to pay attention to, right? You know, it's just the opening, the softening, um, the relaxing, the tending, right? I think Medicine Buddha is a really important practice to cultivate this kind of attunement, right? And because of the nature of emptiness, we can do really profound rituals and practice, right? Because everything is malleable, can be shaped, right? Um, this is magic, right? This is a magical tradition. Tantra is magic, right? Even though maybe scholars wouldn't say that, but it is. It's just magic with an ethic, right? It's just a pretty clear ethical system that we're trying to help, that we're trying to get free, we're trying to reduce harm, right? That's Tantra. That's bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the ethical system that shapes magic into medicine, right? Um, and I think Medicine Buddha deeply exemplifies this, this ethic, right? So let's start moving into this magic, the shaping of reality, this manipulation of phenomena. Right? And I think, a big part of this that takes time to work through is really believing that whatever we're doing together is helping, right? When we do a ritual like the ritual for the deceased, right? We are helping a lot, even though we may not feel it. We may not have a lot of data. Um, but we are moving energy, right? Everything we do has an impact. So this is why we're trying to just open to this bodhicitta, so that everything that we do, say, or think is really for the liberation and the benefit of all beings. Right? Um, so let's start there. Let's start with the bodhicitta, the awakened care, as I often call it in my work. But the bodhicitta, right, this profound aspiration, right, to be of benefit, but more specifically, the profound aspiration to free beings from suffering. We free beings from suffering as we ourselves are getting free. So the bodhicitta aspiration is simply, may our practice get all beings free, be the cause of liberation for all beings. May it be so. Right, and then from there, we're just becoming aware of our seats, noticing the weight of our bodies and the seat rising to hold us. Letting our bodies settle and be held by the seat. We even begin to touch the land that's holding us, remembering the history of the land, offering gratitude to the land as the mother. And then feeling the tethering of the land and the seat, we also lift our attention. We notice the sky, the space above us, which we call the Sacred Father. The sky is Father, land is Mother. So we can feel the tethering of the land as we lift up to the spaciousness of the sky. And sometimes I like to imagine that I'm a tree. And So my roots are deeply um, tethered in the land. My body is like the trunk of the tree, lifts and rises up, and then I expand, right? So my branches are like awareness, expanding, opening, trying to kind of like hold all the space as I'm extending and pushing up. And just sitting and resting in this space for just a moment. Letting the earth hold you, feeling your awareness expand up and out and all around. Letting yourself really expand into the space around you. And whatever is arising as a thought or a feeling or what have you, we just let all of this energy, these things just kind of float through our minds. We don't have to get involved. We just notice whatever we're noticing, just leave it alone. Let the thoughts and emotions be about their business. And we just return to being held by the seat, by the land, maybe anchoring with the weight of our bodies. Letting go of any agenda, letting go of any desire to practice or to get somewhere, and just be here, noticing, feeling, experiencing, letting the world be as it is for a moment. So a few more moments. And so when you're ready, we turn our attention to our heart centers. And so just noticing, right? Just our heart centers, which is where our heart chakras are operating. And we're going to kind of awaken the heart chakra a little bit as we enter into this work with Medicine Buddha, this collaboration maybe. So to begin with, I just invite you to reflect on your desire for any kind of healing. What kind of healing are you deeply desiring? Spiritual, mental, physical? What needs to be tended to or held? What needs to be brought back into wholeness? And this is just you, right? What do you need in your healing? And when you're ready, I invite you to shift your attention now to reflect on what others need for their healing. And you can think about people in your life, communities that you're a part of. You can think about other communities that you're in solidarity with. You can think about form beings and more than human beings, spirit beings. It's really up to you, but think about others and the healing that they need. And everything that we're reflecting on, we're not attaching or fixating on. So as we're thinking about the needs of others, we're just identifying those needs and just letting what we experience just be in space. Just let space hold what we're uncovering and reflecting on. And sometimes we even begin to let go of the thinking about the healing, and we find ourselves just being with the experience of need, right? So in my practice, it's like I can experience like this energy of need, right, that other beings have for something to happen. And just feeling that energy, I can just kind of let it be, right? I'm not overwhelmed, but I can just feel it. I can feel this energy really awakening even in me and around me as well. And it may even feel like grief, brokenheartedness, sadness. But again, just let it be there. And then we go further and we bring both our desire for healing as well as other beings' desire for healing together. And it becomes our deep desire, deep need to be healed, which in the tradition of Medicine Buddha is also the desire to be free from suffering. So we all, us and all beings, we want to be free from suffering. We want to be healed. And now we go further by saying, thinking, may we all get free from suffering. May we all be healed. And then we turn our attention back to our heart centers. And we imagine that our heart centers, that in the middle of our heart centers, right in the chakra, the heart chakra, a flame emerges, like a candle flame. And that flame begins to illuminate our chests, kind of like if we were like E.T., and how E.T.'s chest would always illuminate when he was doing big work. Because we're doing big work. So your heart center begins to illuminate, and this flame is the symbol of that. And letting that light that's radiating from this flame, from the heart center, really begin to radiate through your body. And as this radiance is deepening or intensifying, you return back to this aspiration, may we all get free from suffering, may we all be healed. And then this aspiration for healing is connected, it corresponds to this illumination, this radiance. And you may be feeling some heat, some warmth. You may be feeling kind of this energy really kind of getting stronger, and this energy may feel like kind of staticky, right? Warm. But slowly, right, as this energy, this radiance, this warmth, whatever, or however you're experiencing this, but slowly this radiance begins to kind of dissolve just slightly the realness or the heaviness or the density of our bodies. So there gets to be a little bit of lightness with our physical expression. There's a softness or more of a tenderness with our physical bodies. Maybe there's a slight expansion as well. But staying connected to the seat, to the earth that's tethering us. And as all of this is happening, we turn our attention to our opening mantra, our main mantra, Om Menasange Kino Soha Medicine Buddha, please think of me, look upon me. We'll begin with Om, chant the mantra 3 times, and then end with Om, okay? And we begin. Om Lazange Kino Soha Om Lazange Kino Soha Om Lazange Kino Soha And just like that, we have awakened the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. That this radiance, this light, this energy is an expression of Medicine Buddha. So we begin to turn our attention to the main mantra. And we'll move through stages of the mantra as we often do. So the first chanting is just sitting, resting, opening to this energy. This is the stage of the practice where we become acquainted with this healing consciousness, Medicine Buddha. And so as we turn our attention to the mantra, we allow the mantra to tend to us. Let the mantra tend to you. Let the mantra take you where it needs to take you. Let the mantra work with you. And you can chant along, or you can just sit and listen. But most importantly, just remain in your body. Remain connected and held by the seat. And let the mantra and the practice work for you. Alright? So we begin. O te anta begenze begenze ma begenze razu mungare soha te anta begenze begenze ma begenze razu mungare soha te anta ma began there as a zoom got his oha peanda began ze ma began there as a zoom got his oha peanda began ze ma began there as a zoom got his oha 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 수문가래소하 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 수문가래소하 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 And so for this next stage of chanting, we're going to just shift this visualization And I invite you to imagine that this radiance begins to not just fill up your body or just kind of slightly radiate from your body, but to go even further and to imagine that this radiance is just filling up the space that you're in, or even the home or the place that you're practicing in. So let this radiance, this energy, just begin to tend to the physical space around you. And in doing this, we're blessing, tending to not just our physical places, our homes, or so forth, but we're also tending to the spirits and the more than human beings that are around us as well, are some of the beings that also inhabit our homes. This is a blessing for them as well. So we're going to go back into the mantra just for a couple of minutes, and then into our prayer requests and our ritual. All right? So we'll begin again. O te anta begenze begenze maha begenze raza sumungate soha. Te anta begenze begenze maha begenze raza sumungate soha. Te anta So I turn my attention to the prayer requests. And again, we call into the space all of our benefactors, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dharma protectors, all beings of light, all the spirits of the land and the elements. We especially call in all the spirits of the sacred waters to begin to hold this guiding ritual. We call in all the beings of all, everywhere, who want us to be free, who are working for us to be free. We call your attention, we call you to this space as we offer these sacred prayers, that you work on our behalf to bring about what we are most needing and asking for from these prayers. We offer prayers for my dear, tender daughter and her graduation week, prayers for my health, balance, and launch into CPE, prayers for myself, Susan, Trevor, Kathy, Sharon, Melissa, and Judith, prayers for the continued healing of my two nieces. May all children be healthy, happy, safe, and totally free. Prayers for my niece and sister-in-law, that their relationship might begin to heal. Prayers for liberation from the ghosts of the past. Prayers for favor as I move forward toward the life that I'm meant to live. Prayers of gratitude of ancestral healing with my father's lineage, the Zerzi dog Willow and the Cecilia Axtine. Prayers for my opening further to the roses and my rose lineage. Prayers for Joy, Adeline, Sullivan, and Bear. Prayers for my mother's ancestral lineages and father's ancestral lineages. Blessings for healing into their most divine selves. Prayers for Mary, Bernie, and Arthur. Prayers for all my community members. May I and others embrace courage to practice right relationship with one another and to arrive and arise to the liberation of all beings in this moment. Prayers of healing for my laptop, which I need to write my last paper for the semester. Ashe. Prayers for the swift healing of my neck and the calming of the fear and grief I'm feeling surrounding this injury. Prayers that Elle gets the pain medication they need now and into the future. Prayers that I get the caregiving help I need. Prayers that my path is cleared as quickly as possible so that I may be of service and discover my Dharma. Prayers for my safety and protection, that all beings, of all the beings in my life. Prayers of gratitude and love to Lama Rod, this community, and my team of guides. Prayers as Emery's waitlist decisions are imminent. May a space become available for me to start my studies. Prayers for A and Z to get free and receive all the care and love available to them. Prayers for JB to find peace. Prayers for C to find her voice. Prayers for my family who are so sad missing my son, whose birthday we always celebrated with much love and joy. Prayers especially for Gianna, who is grieving the impossible loss of her beloved husband, her soulmate, the love of her life. Prayers for C for the best positive results from her MRI and for the best possible medical care for treatment. Prayers of J that he may find employment. Prayers for all those suffering. Prayers that I may continue to find clarity in the constantly changing direction of where to step next. Prayers for everyone struggling. May we let our hearts break again and again. Prayers for my partner relationship. Prayers for my patience and well-being. May I continue to grow in love and clarity. And may all beings be liberated as soon as possible. Prayers for myself as I get over the flu and recover from overwhelm. For the souls in my family who are currently transitioning. Prayers for all those struggling with mental health, especially folks in their teenage years. May everyone have all the resources that they need to be well and healed, completely free from suffering. Prayers of healing for my heart and body. Prayers for A, healing for migraines and seizures. Prayers for my sister, her wife, and 3 children navigating healing trauma as a family. Prayers for my tia A, who has a mass in her arm and will get a biopsy soon. Prayers to cultivate meditative stability while showing up to connect with family and community. Prayers for my dad, George, who passed away last week and is in the Bardo. Prayers for my cousin Aisha's health and protection. Prayers of gratitude for my nephew and his new baby. May they both be healthy and happy and protected. Prayers to deepen my clarity, courage, confidence, and compassion in every breath. Prayers for the hearts and minds of all the people on earth. Prayers for my mother, Chari, on her birthday. May she get free, be deeply loved, and may all her blessings continue to find her. Prayers for Josh's healing. Prayers for Richard's upcoming wrongful conviction hearing. May he experience freedom and justice. Prayers for my daughter as she navigates friendships with kids who are self-harming and not able to accept her love right now. May she find healthy relationships with mutually supportive people. Prayers that I may find deep, restful sleep tonight, and that everyone suffering from insomnia may find rest as well. Prayers that L and R are able to find their path this summer while keeping their centers, figuring out healthy codependency patterns and friendship ethics. Prayers this preparation month be abundant and joyful, full of work, friends, play, creation, and labors of love. Prayers that I am sustained and nourished through the year. Prayers for Brian O'Grady and wife Julia as he heals from multiple injuries from her fall. Likewise for Frank Ballard and wife Margit as he heals from terrible injuries from a fall. Prayers for myself that my nervous system can calm down and heal after a recent auto accident, that I can metabolize and clear the shock and adjust to a new vehicle and where we both are in time and space. Prayers for safety, prayers to be able to heal the helping unseen beings. Prayers for all beings all over the world living in places of war, sustained conflict, suffering from a lack of resources and starvation. Prayers for safe and easy passage for Rocky, the kidney stone, who has been wreaking havoc in my body for months. Prayer for wisdom, compassion, courage for myself as I move back home and leave my spouse. Prayers that my family will heal from trauma and confusion. Prayers for Keith and his family as he navigates the experience of cancer. Prayers for Andrea to be freed from ice before her health deteriorates beyond healing. I offer prayers for my Aunt Jelaine, who will be transitioning very soon. I offer deep prayers for her son, my cousin, that he may have all the resources and care and support that he needs to make this final support and decision on behalf of his mother. I continue to pray for, of course, the complete abolition of all systems of violence and harm that keep so many of us under-resourced. May these systems be completely abolished, and may we all get free and healed as quickly as possible. And may it be so. And so we release these prayers to our benefactors, and again, asking them to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. And so we begin to transition into this transition ritual. And I want to begin first by just offering some cedar. I offer cedar to begin to kind of clear the path. To begin to clear the path, to begin to open the doors for the transition of all the beings that we will be inviting. And we call upon, as we often do in ritual, we call upon the sacred waters, all the spirits and the deities of the waters. And of course, we pray to the waters as this agent of clearing, opening, of movement, of fluidity. And as we are connecting to the waters, we begin to open our minds and begin to touch, to reflect on the lives of those that we are helping to transition. Beings who have been close to us, beings maybe that we don't know, or that we heard of, or someone else's beloved. It doesn't matter, but we open our minds, and as we open our minds, it feels as if it's just like something beginning to expand, to hold, to tend to all of these spirits, all of these beings who are needing support in their transition. And we can also call to the beings around us, maybe that we don't even know are present with us. We open our minds and our awareness to them as well. And I pray that the sacred waters, the consciousness, the energy of the sacred waters begin to permeate throughout space, slowly beginning to tend to all of these spirits, all of these beings who need support in transition. So we begin to call to Gordon White, to Elizabeth Arnold, to Muhammad Faraj Hamad, to Huck, to Eugene, Joanne, Pat, and Rhoda, for Lee and Kenny, for David Gifford, for Karen and Kevin, for Haley Hodge, to Grandma Layla, to Donna Fisher, and for Brian. Call to Chloe D. Noble, to Ezelina Petrona Northover, to Sid France, to Juniper Blessing, to Lucas Redbeard, for Lainey and Doug, Ricky Joyner, for Brian K. We call to these beings, and we call to all beings who may be unnamed, but are still very present around us. We call to you as well. And we offer you this pouring of water, this libation. And as I offer this water, I want you and I invite you to imagine that the water begins to just clear away all the karma, all of the obstacles that is preventing these beings from transitioning and from moving on. And as I offer this water, I will be chanting the Vajrasattva mantra. So if you know the Vajrasattva mantra that we've been practicing together in retreats, please chant along with me. And I'll chant that 3 times. The Vajrasattva mantra is a mantra that cleanses and clears as well. All right, so we begin. Om Binza Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Binza Sattva Dinapa Kisasherdu Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sara Siddhi Metraya Sasara Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriya Kuruhu Ha 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 O Dagawan Sara Tata Gata Binza Mami Musa Binza Bawa Maha Samaya Sattva Om Binza Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Binza Sattva Dinapa Kisasherdu Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sada Siddhi Metraya Sasara Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Ha 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 O Dagava Sada Tata Gata Binza Mame Musa Binza Bawa Maha Samaya Sattva Om benzo sato samaya manupalaya benzo sato tenapa tisatridu mebawa sutukaya mebawa anurakta mebawa sarasiti mebraya sasara kama sikta me siksan shriyam purum ha 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 o dagawan sara tata kata benzo bawe musa benzo bawa maha samaya sato And with the offering of this water, all beings are cleansed of all the karmas that prevent them from transitioning. Not only that, the offering of this water has also opened the pathways, the gates for all these precious beings to start moving through. So we begin to imagine that all the beings that we've been praying for, our beloveds, all the beings, all these spirits are beginning to transition into these gates, these paths that have opened up, as if they are moving through a portal of light, feeling them let go, release the weight of the physical world and entering back into the spirit and barter world. And we return back into our practice to our own illumination, feeling this energy of Medicine Buddha radiating from us, filling up the space around us. We also begin to imagine that our radiance also helps and supports these beings in their transitioning as well. That even this radiance coming from us opens up the door of transition even wider, so that all of the beings on the lands around us who are ready to journey on are able to move on. And in your practice, and this is something I want you to say out loud if you can, to speak out loud, and to say basically, speaking to the spirits that it is okay to move on. You can move on. You can transition. And this is helpful, right? Just to remind beings that they can move on. You can go. You can move on. I'll be okay. Take this opportunity to continue transitioning back to the places you belong, that are waiting for you. And may you journey well. And as beings are transitioning, we return back to the mantra just for about 2 minutes. And again, imagining that beings are continuing to cross over. All right, and we begin. Ot eanda begenze ma begenze razumungarizua te anda begenze ma begenze razumungarizua te anda And so we just offer a prayer that may all the beings who have transitioned back to where they need to go, may they return in peace, may they return in deep happiness, and may their ancestors and the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas meet them on the other side to guide them back to where they belong and where they need to be. And offering this cedar symbolically from my space, but energetically expressing itself in your space no matter where you're at. We imagine that the cedar begins to close these gates, these portals between the worlds. And that the energy of this sacred herb cleanses our space and settles any energies that may have been disrupted in this ritual. And so when you're ready, we turn our attention back to our heart centers, again, feeling this energy, this light, this radiance, whatever you're experiencing. And we begin to imagine that this energy begins to collect back into your heart center, back into this flame, into the heart chakra. And we find our bodies coming back into focus again, the density of our bodies, feeling the seat rising to hold us, feeling the earth tethering us. Maybe even just noticing the breath, the in-breath through the nose, the release out of the mouth. When your body has come back into focus, just beginning to reawaken your bodies through simple movements. And then we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we'll recite 3 times to conclude our session. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements, such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right. Thank you all so much for your practice. And I think I have just a time for like 2 questions. But don't force yourself to ask a question. It's just a courtesy. But if there's a burning question, right? And for particularly for those of you who don't ask questions, um, please do so. If you have something, it doesn't have to be about the practice. It doesn't have to be about anything. I mean, I would love some pop culture questions. I have lots to say about The Devil Wears Prada too, but maybe this isn't the space for that.
Or perhaps while those percolate, or perhaps not, I'll just go ahead and say my closing little bit. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much, Lama Rod. Um, if this offering supports your liberation, please donate to help sustain Lama Rod's healing and work in the world. Um, Please don't underestimate how much each and every contribution makes a big difference in protecting the sustainability and potency of this lineage and these teachings for all beings. And the Medicine Buddha Quick Links document, of course, has all kinds of information, including information for joining us for Blessed Sleigh tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you'd like to do so. All right, that's all I've got.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I think The Devil Wears Prada too. I enjoyed it more than the first movie. It felt like there was actually fashion in this movie. Like, I didn't really feel like there was fashion in the first movie. I think it just felt like they just kind of like scraped some stuff together. But I think that was on purpose because a lot of designers didn't want to support the first film because they didn't really know what was going to happen. But now they got all the designers for the second one. I also appreciate the comment on what's happening to media right now and how like tech billionaires are just kind of coming into these art spaces and taking over. And I enjoy the point the movie was making that like fashion isn't necessarily about making money, right? It's about beauty, right? It's about um, like craft. It's not just about replicating something that makes a lot of money, right? I think there's a like I talk about this, in love and in the New Saints, right? Just like how I'm understanding fashion, right? Just in my study of fashion, is that for me, fashion is expression, right? And it's beauty, and there's art in it, but there's a functionality to fashion in a way that like it is an expression of who we believe ourselves to be, which is really powerful. We use clothes to communicate who we are, you know. And we all think about clothing. We all think about the colors that we put on, the shirts that we like put on for like an online teaching. Like this is we think about this, or So anyway, yeah. Um, Capitalism, like it so disrupts creativity and inspiration. And I think that's a sign of like end stage capitalism. Um, Anywho,
I did
it's,
see some questions that came in through the chat.
yeah. And I am going to go see As God Is. Believe me. Believe you me. You
Forward
know?
to hearing all about it. Let me see where I find this. Ah, yes, two questions from the chat. How can we help our young people work with so much pain in the world?
Mm.
And then, in maybe a related way, how do you deal with cognitive dissonance?
Mm. Yeah, for the young people, right? I relate to that. When when I was young, adolescent, pre-adolescence, right? It was so important for me to care about something. Like it was important for me to look at what was happening in the world and to get involved, right? And that really brought me through a lot of despair when I was young. I just felt like I could channel that despair into action. And that despair was also being held by a lot of love and a lot of care, right? But it's like it's helping all of us, not just young people, but all of us remember that like that compassion is really important, for ourselves, but for others, for the world, and that like that compassion should be leading us into doing something. If I don't like the world, I'm going to change the world. Everyone else is doing it, you know, right? Donald Trump is doing it. Why can't I do it, right? It's spiritual warfare, right? There's a lot of spiritual warfare. It's not just political warfare. And spiritual warfare is where my expertise is, more so than an organizer and an activist. And we need people on all the front lines, the political front lines as well as the spiritual front lines, you know. So yeah, we need, for young people, we need spaces for them to grieve, right? We need spaces where they can express like the hopelessness. I just keep seeing that and hearing that, the hopelessness, right? Um, to let them know they're not in this by themselves. That all the generations are together, right? That we're trying to get free right now. Um, so yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Yes, thank you. And then the other question was, how do you deal with cognitive
Oh
dissonance?
yeah, yeah. You know, I feel like there are different realities, right? There are different realities, and when I've talked about the apocalypse, in the years leading to this moment, right? I've talked about how there, it feels like this split, that there are different worlds. I would say maybe two worlds that are splitting apart. Like one world is a world where people are just stuck in what they believe, right? And they're not interested in changing and evolving, right? And then this other world, which I hope all of us are in, is this world where we are actually evolving, changing, and it hurts, right? So if you're going through a lot of stuff, then you're in this world that's evolving, right? We're processing collective trauma, collective despair. Like that's why it feels so heavy. It's not just yours, it's ours, right? And then there are people who I know people who are just so unfazed by everything. And it's just like it's so confusing. That's the cognitive, like dissonance, right? It's just like no matter what's happening, they're just like whatever. The world's gonna be the world, no matter what happens. And the rest of us are like, no, the world is changing. And we have to stay with that change because that's how the new world is dawning. It's through this experience of change and letting go, metabolizing, right? And it's just enough of us to bring about this new world through our emotional collective labor. Right? So in many ways, what I'm saying, I guess, is that we're gonna have to let people go. No amount of yelling, screaming, manipulating, shaming, whatever we do to get people on our side. That's like, this is not useful, right? And I'm really hopeful because there are a lot of people who are waking up and saying, you know what, like, I'm going to do something different. I see a lot of people, you know, doing that. So that's really great. But there are a lot of people who won't. And throughout history and cultures of a great change, there have always been people who have not consented to how the culture of the collective has shifted, right? That's just the reality of things. So we mourn, right? We mourn, we grieve, we mourn, and we let them go. We say thank you, goodbye, right? And then we open to this new world. Yeah. You know, I really do hope that Vivica A. Fox gets the recognition that she deserves from Is God Is. Like, I just, not that this has anything to do with anything, but, I love Vivica A. Fox, and I want her to receive her flowers, right? And I know these films, it's so hard for these films like this to get airspace and to cut through all the mainstream shit, like Sinners, right? But it's so important, you know, that black actors, black actresses, and so forth get like their recognition in this industry. So that's all I want to say. So I'm going to do my part to support. Um, let's see.
There were many questions about your film, various film opinions, and best Met Gala outfits, and
Best Mac. I didn't. There weren't
people
any.
want to know.
There weren't any best Mac. They were all just like so uncreative. Like I was just so bored. The beautiful, as Aretha Franklin said, beautiful gowns, lovely gowns, but like creative. Like that's the thing. Like that's the thing about. I'm not gonna get into it. But um, yeah. This is Andre Leon Talley. Like Andre Leon Talley was all the beauty. Where's the beauty? Like things look good, but it doesn't make it beautiful, right? Like beauty is like creativity. Beauty is self-expression. It's like it's not just doing what everyone else is doing, but it's figuring out your style. Style is the key. Style is the key for everything. What is your style of doing things, right? What is unique to you? What's authentic to you? I have a style of doing things, right? And you know that, right? This is how I like to do things. I'm not trying to copy anyone. Like this is what I enjoy and I do it, right? Like what is your style of liberation? What is your style of teaching? What is your style of being a student and so forth? What is that? Figuring that out is really important, right? And money doesn't create style. As Andre Leon Talley says, right? It's like anyone can be fashionable. Like anyone can just put on a really nice outfit, right? But I can tell, like if I'm just out in the world, I can tell when people have style. Like you can feel style in people, not just a nice outfit, right? So yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much,
Well,
Lama.
thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
It's been
Mhm.
lovely.
Any final words to close this out?
Yeah, just continue. Join us tomorrow night for Blessed Slave, which I'll probably continue some of this conversation. I don't know what are we doing. Actually, let me check right now. What are we doing tomorrow? We will be studying patience, everyone's favorite
Mhm.
topic.
I mean, but thank you. Hmm.
Middle
It
age.
actually is my favorite topic, and you need all you can get.
I desperately.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been lovely, and I'll see some of you tomorrow for sure.